I will.
Hi Christian, how are you doing?
Doing well. How are you?
Not too bad. I am I currently can't log into Workday at all, and nobody at IT can help me. So that's what I'm gonna try and work on today. After the meeting. Especially because I took a class this past semester at UNC and I have a bill for like $600.
Oh.
And when I emailed HR, I was like, "Well, what's going on?" They're like, "You must submit a ticket through Workday." I was like, "Well, I can't log into Workday." Oh, fun times. What's been going on with in your neck of the woods?
Just getting prepped for all these campaigns. They're all hitting at like the same time. So this next year we'll have the Maya campaigns, the Opera, EDF, Sapphires, Hub, and RadSense all going
I
on at the
was
same time,
able to join.
Oh, nice.
all with equipment at the same time.
Just started working
Okay.
a little bit ago, so I'm not there yet.
Hey, Paul.
Hello.
Hello. Uh-oh. Everybody's frozen.
We can hear you, or I can hear you at least.
Yeah, we hear you. Yeah, I'm staying on video mute in case that helps at all, but it does not. Apparently, it is not helping enough for Tammy.
Well, now I can hear you. Yeah, it does help actually.
Okay, I'll stay on video mute.
Cool. Thanks. Yeah, because everybody was completely frozen whenever I joined. I guess it just is limited. Um, hey everyone. Happy New Year. I'm gonna stay off video, I guess. Now I see you moving around. You all looked like frozen dead people when I joined, which is not a great way to kick off the new year. Um, we waiting for anyone? Marilyn Ellison. I don't think so. Lisa's here. Um, cool. Okay, well, I guess I'm supposed to do 3 objects, but I don't know if I can do it with my video. So I may bag out, but I will try. Um, so I'm gonna turn it on. Um, and then we have to think of another game because I guess I'm the last one. So I have, I guess I have 3 little stories about my 3 objects, and they had to be ones that were in my bag. But this object is a bear. This was given to me by my younger child, um, as a when that child was a teenager, and we teenager things. And in the middle of that, my kid gave me a little bear, and then I started taking pictures of the bear when I went places and sending it to that child. So there's like now a backlog of whatever, like 400 bear pictures of bear in pretty much everywhere around the world. Um, and I learned when I went to hang out with, no, Bear's name is Bear. Um, some of the stove people also have little animals that they take pictures of. And so like Christian will know Krista Roth and I can't remember who else, but there's a picture of Bear with like a bunch of giraffes, and they're all about the same size because that's the size you can travel with. Um, anyway, so my second thing is like I have a belief in doing things that I'm not very good at. Somehow they just kind of make me happy sometimes because anyway, because and also I find that well, in addition to the feeling of learning, it keeps me remembering what it's like to be a student, which I think helps me relate to my students better. Because I just, like I'm good at the stuff I teach them. And if I stay good at stuff all the time, then I just don't remember. So the thing I am doing now, I am learning to play the mandolin very, 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 very slowly and very badly. Mute, I think. And then when I went on the Grand Canyon trip, one of our guides had a ukulele. And he said, you can get better at anything with 15 minutes a day. And I'm like, I can do 15 minutes a day. So I'm doing 15 minutes a day. Um, and a long time ago, Marilee asked what instrument would you play? And I said I would play the mandolin. Marilee, I'm doing it. Okay, so the very last thing I have is a wristband. And this wristband has my what? Yeah, so um I'm not sure how this works. I stayed in the UK for a sabbatical and I joined a running group and they got me to do park run. And I was like, how good could it be? It's a free 5K and you can go every week. And then I went and it was like, holy shit, this is awesome. And yeah, so in the UK, you can like roll out of bed and find a free 5K Saturday morning. In the United States, it's not so easy, but I have gotten into the cause of doing park runs whenever I can. And there's one in Boulder. That's the closest one. And maybe there will be one in Fort Collins if I get my shit together. Um, so anyway, free every week, 9 a.m. And it's like such a thing in the UK that Saturday is called Park Run Day. Yeah. So anywhere you go, you can run. And for those people who like to run, it's a good thing. The nice thing about it is you can get done Saturday morning and then you have like accomplished something already. So those are my three things. Yeah, thank you, Will. Uh, Paul says it's a good thing for people who don't like to run. This is true. Paul did not like to run, and now he does them. Um, he's been, I've managed to entrain him into my madness. I will try to entrain other people into my madness if we get a Fort Collins park run. Yeah, well, these are things I always carry, Ellison. Um, and so one of the things is I've required myself to take the mandolin whenever I travel, because if I have the excuse that I don't practice when I travel, it doesn't go anywhere, right? So I have now turned into a non-light traveler. It's very sad. I used to be like, I don't need to check luggage. No, it's no longer true. Okay. So we have kind of two things to go over. You will see, I sent you the links to phase one overview, but there is the link. I don't want to belabor this too much, but we've actually made a fair bit of progress on the workflow. So I shared phase one overview with you before. Oh, I'm going to turn my video off now just in case. Um, and it's changed a fair bit. So it now I've included tabs for each site. When you go to the overview, Misa has set up a very clever little script telling everybody what their outstanding tasks are, and you get a, can you hear me? Okay, cool. You get a bothersome email every day if you have tasks outstanding, so we can get the phase one um, process through. And then there's every site in here. And I had showed you some stuff before. Now every site has an average. I will embed Christian's event counting when I can. 3 sites have been completed with regard to phase one. And you can just tab through them if you want to see. There's also, maybe I would, let's take a look at 310, which is the one we looked at before. And we said, wow, those concentrations outside are really high. Can that be real? And so what we have learned now is that Misa and Danny and Will, or some subset of the group, co-located that outdoor sensor with others. It is reading super high. It is one of the ones that were calibrated. So we need to do a more frequent job of calibrating these particulate sensors. Um, things I have added, if you scroll down to the more graphs, there's an indoor, just a random indoor versus hour of day. I didn't make it a pretty plot. Like, so it's got the swipey things across it where it's going from hour 24 back to hour 0. This is like as quick as we can do to get an kind of an automatic look at everything. But this is just to see, do they have common indoor events every single day or most days? And I would say, I don't know, this one, I don't know. I can't tell. That I'm trying to put things in that will help people just get a real quick overview of the house. And then the graph next to it is a lag correlation between indoor and outdoor. And do people need me to explain what a lag correlation is? So then it's never very correlated. It's usually not very correlated at all at 0 hours, which is what we would expect if there's a delay. And then but this one puzzled me because the highest correlation is at like 10 hours. And I don't know, so you could confuse that with like or that could get confounded if there's a diurnal thing going on outside and a diurnal thing going on inside. That could be completely spurious, right? Anyway, those are some numbers. Up on the top, there are two graphs. One removes the spurious outdoor air. And you'll see when we look at a different one, I'll generally put two. One is everything, and one is things that I think are reasonable. And then I haven't done it yet, but Christian, I believe, had requested calculated stack pressure. And that's not on this one, but it's on the other two. So anyone who wants to ask for other things to help them look at houses, you can. That's not the point of this review. This review is saying, now that we know, we had looked at 310 before, all of us. The indoor concentrations look a little bit high. As you can see, they are summarized over on the left. We don't have a good outdoor sensor. I have not yet brought in the average purple air from the closest place. Are we ready to make a call on this going to phase 2?
Tammy, if I can hop in really quick.
Yeah.
We put two sensors at site 300, including the one that was reading really high at site 310.
Yeah.
And I just took the figure comparing those two sensors and I put it in site 300 if we wanted to take a look. Um, I think what it shows is that that sensor is something's wrong with the sensor and how it
Yeah,
measures PM2.5. And
that's
so I
right.
think that yeah, that outdoor measurement at 310 is just like we can't use it at all. It seems like it's related sometimes, but it's just a mess.
Yeah, sorry, that's what I tried to communicate. Not sure that it came across though. So we don't have any information at 310. We do know that we have elevated PM indoors. What what actions do we want to take, if any, on this? Or can we not make a call until we go get the purple air that's closest?
my first, I guess, gut reaction is the 310, the number of events happening on inside seems uh, like it's going to be interesting. And I agree that the outdoor one might be off, but looking at the 300 data that Danny put in, looks like it might just be kind of a scaling problem. Looks like it trends in the right direction. And it's hard to tell a little bit with the scales, but it looks like the high peaks outside do occur at same reasonable times as indoor peaks. That's all to say that this one seems like it might be a worthwhile one to me. I think there's some evidence to indicate outdoor is probably going indoors, even if we don't believe the outdoor number right now.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious about it too.
If we view the outdoor as like a dimensionless type of number, the peaks seem to line up in reasonable places, which seems encouraging.
And it's a lot of PM. Like even if we say the outdoor numbers are wrong, something's affecting the indoor quite a lot.
So on 310, on the hour of day one, I feel like to me it looks like there's something going on around breakfast. The rest of it seems like it's sometimes there's a thing and sometimes there's not. But I feel like there's a pretty repeatable thing going on around the same time every morning, or most mornings.
Yeah, that's a good point. And one of the reasons that I want, well, I guess I'd like comment from Ellison just because of her experience with Epic Homes. Like, I'm pretty sure you guys looked at hour a day, right? And maybe my figures are too ugly to look at, but I'm wondering if you see anything in that hour of day plot that tells you that that's an indoor source.
Um, so sorry, first of all, where are you seeing breakfast, Paul?
I think
Um,
Paul's saying like
I,
What
the
what
hour of day?
what I'm seeing is that it tends to be low until what looks like around 6:30 or so, and then every day it goes up. Um, it takes a while to get to the peak. It's around 8 or 9 before it gets to the peak, but it seems like something is happening at about six, starting at about 6:30 every day.
Um,
like it's quiet before that point.
yeah, that's fair. I mean, I look at these and think I see both evidence of indoor and outdoor influence, sort of like what Christian was saying. I realize the magnitude of the outdoor sensor is very high, but am I looking at the right one? Site 100, that's where Danny, you put in this plot, right? Of PM outdoor 1, outdoor 2.
It's 300 or 310 we're looking at right now. 300 has the comparison between this sensor that had gone crazy and something else. So 310 is what we're analyzing now.
Yeah, and so looking at that hour day, I guess I see both indoor and outdoor influence, and I think waiting for homes that don't have any indoor influence is, I think, the downside of that is too many homes would be disqualified. So I think there's sufficient evidence of some outdoor influence. It also has indoor influence, but I find it hard to, unless we're asking people to not cook, I find it difficult that we will find homes that don't have some evidence of indoor influence.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And I think this is going to be hard, right? Like
Yeah,
the
but I
hard
think
thing
that's,
is going to be, are
I
we
think,
protecting people from outdoor air?
appealing to the title of the project, like these are supposed to be like realistic, somewhat realistic within some boundary condition that allows us to still test for what we're interested in. But I think homes with no indoor influence are almost, in my mind, like homes that aren't lived in. And so even if you did a great job of preventing outdoor PM getting in, you're not doing a great job of preventing exposure because people aren't there doing stuff. So I think the amount of evidence for indoor activity, maybe to frame it as slightly more positive framing, is like the evidence of indoor activity is present, but doesn't seem to be overwhelming some evidence of outdoor influence. And that seems to be a realistic scenario to test the intervention or to move to phase 2 at least.
I guess I'm hearing positive feelings on this. Does anyone want to argue against doing this house? Okay, not hearing it. So I'm going to say that's a go. Part of what I'm hoping to do with this meeting here, I know we've spent lots of meetings or several meetings looking at homes like this, and we're not going to do this every week. But I want the team to get accustomed to looking at the phase 1 overview sheet, possibly being able to make quick judgments or provide quick questions, because these homes are going to start, we hope they're going to start coming fast and furious. Misa's got calls out to a number of homes, and so we're going to start placing instruments, and data will come in faster than we can meet and talk about them. So I'm hoping that you all feel that this information is enough to make a decision. And if it's not, ask for more or ask for something else. Okay, let's take a look at 300. Over on the right is the graph with all PM 2.5 measurements, some really weird stuff. So you have an out 1 and an out 2, with the out 2 being the one that was the test that was implemented, and that goes really high. And so the one over on the left is a more reasonable outdoor sensor where I've removed out 2. You can see that the studio one looks weird. Danny pointed this out. It's got kind of a regular spike, and we're looking into that. We don't believe that that is real at this point. So those 2 were taken out for the figure on the left. This one does have a stack prediction. We did not have an outdoor temperature for the first few days. I try to communicate a couple things up here on the observation line. And so ignore the first few days of PS predicted. That's the stack pressure predicted. I had to multiply it by 10 to get it on the same graph. But you can see a range of stack pressures that will go up to about 4 pascals during winter conditions. Note to field team, I guessed the stack height, so that's something that we need to roll into our phase 1 measurements. You can see average indoor, and then you can go down and as usual, look at the hour of day plot and the lag correlation plot. And I guess it would help to have a figure that had the x-axis a little bit more spread out.
As a sanity check for me, well, I guess I'm struggling a little bit with the stack effect. With going up or going down, which is more likely to draw in? I know we have both, but like based on where these probes are set, would we anticipate outdoor being drawn in more in one of the two directions for the stack effect fluctuations
When it's high.
when it's high? Okay. And is it about middle at neutral, or would the bottom of the peaks be closer to neutral? I'm just kind of like trying to orient myself for now
What
and
do you mean by
future.
neutral?
So say temperature is the same indoor and out, so we would anticipate no stack effect.
Then it would be
Is
0. If there's no stack effect, it's 0.
right, but is that the bottom of the purple squiggles or the middle of the purple squiggles? Are we having stack effect go two different directions? I just don't really fully
No,
understand
we
where the.
don't. No, I
Okay,
haven't shifted anything.
okay,
If it's all above 0, so
okay.
we
So
never
we
have
always have
0.
some. Okay, I got it.
Yeah,
Thank you for.
yeah. And this was winter, so it's likely that we never go through 0. When you've seen it go through 0 before, it's usually been in a more moderate season.
Okay, great. Thanks for clarifying that for me.
So what I'm seeing in this one is there's clearly diurnal, or clearly not diurnal, clearly time of day indoors. It looks as though some of that is going to be related to outdoors from the top graph, but we also have some pretty, what looks like significant outdoor events where we do not see the same kind of influence on indoors. So I guess I would be, if I'm interpreting our decision-making process here, I would be in favor of moving forward with this one as well.
Yeah, I think the only thing that raised some questions for me was that spike every day at kind of the same time at night, Tammy, that you mentioned. And I think if once we dig a little bit more into that, if we can see if that's real or not, that would be great. Because if it is real, it's just kind of weird. And it's weird that we see it across multiple sensors, but I don't
Do
know.
we?
But there's a little bit of an enhancement in the basement sensor at the same time.
Okay.
And I think a little bit in the living room too, but not as much as in the studio. The studio, and it's weird. It's like clockwork. It's like every night at like 9:40.
Yeah.
Is it when their heater turns on?
Oh, that's interesting.
And I guess my follow-up question to you, Danny, is what if you found out it was real, what would it make you? Would it make you think it's more ready to go to phase 2 or less?
I think that would depend on if it was a behavioral thing or if it was like a environment thing. If it was a behavioral thing, like every day they light a candle at the same time or something, that might make me less inclined to pick them. But if it's like, oh, their heater turns on, then I think I'd be fine with that.
Yeah.
Hey,
I guess
What
I,
type of,
oh, go ahead.
I was just
I
gonna
think
ask, what type of,
I would say that that's I probably lean towards that it seems unrealistic to recruit homes that don't have any behaviors that result in some amount of indoor PM. So even if it is a candle, as long as there's some influence from outdoor air also, and it seems like there is here, then I would probably be more likely to promote it to phase two, simply because I think the cases where there isn't influence on indoor air quality are rare or somewhat artificial. Um, but I'm stating it as that my bias is to lean towards, I don't really care if it's a candle. As long as there's some
Yeah.
outdoor air coming in, then it's an intervention worth, or a phase two, like promotion.
Yeah, so I think the purpose of phase one was originally one, we wanted to make sure that there were outdoor air events. We
Yeah.
wanted to avoid homes that were too clean outdoors. And two, we wanted to make sure the homes were not dominated by indoor PM. Like they've got so many indoor sources that we're never going to see the outdoor. So I
Right.
think those are the two guidelines. Okay, so I'm hearing an okay on this one too. Anyone want to object? Okay, wow. Misa and I are going to be starting another one next week. We'll maybe try to do that one offline. I'm not sure the best way to gather feedback from people, but I'll try to think about it. If anyone has suggestions, let me know. And so we're getting ready to start measuring homes. I've got some questions. I asked everyone to look at the go, no go, and I want to do kind of a round robin on that. Um, there is a critical path element or more than one in that we're not completely ready with the home pressurization intervention. It at least needs to be tested in a home and made to work with a real integration before we visit it upon anyone. So we're not completely ready. The field or the tech team is moving on that. So just know we're not completely ready. Um, and that'll be the topic of tech team review, et cetera, et cetera. So I've got I guess my two questions are, where do we stand with the go, no go sheet? And I'm referring to the overview. Like I've been looking at the overview. Christian started one and I tried to move everything to the overview. Um, so there's that. And then another question that I think we have not really addressed is we have some language about like it's going to be random which intervention they get, but it's not clear that every home is appropriate for every intervention. We have brought some homes into phase one, I think, that wouldn't work with the pressurization. And I am not sure about that. So I would like to hear people's thoughts on that before we do the go, no go. And then go to that for the rest of the meeting. Sound okay? So I think maybe Paul, that's you and Christian.
Yeah, so if the question is about houses that we visited for phase one not being suitable for pressurization, I've been to two of the houses and I don't know which numbers are associated with those. Danny and Misa ought to know. Um, the second one that I went to, absolutely not for the pressurization. I just did not see a good place to tie into the duct system. The duct system was largely like in floor slash ceiling cavities and wall cavities. I just didn't see where we would do it, but we proceeded in part because we thought it could still be a good candidate for the okay, that's 306. Thank you, Danny. That so that would absolutely be the portable air cleaner house. The first one that we went to that is Carrie's house is at 300.
Yeah,
Is
we're
that
not supposed to give personal information
oh,
about, sorry.
I thought within the team it was okay. I'm sorry.
No, there's people that are cleared for it and people and not, right?
Okay. I will refrain going forward. I'm sorry I missed that detail.
Like,
Um,
but I will say that when Carrie told me that it was her, she's like, "Oh, you guys are doing my house," and I'm like, "Oh, I I wasn't even privy to whose house it was because of the personal information." So
yeah.
so if she disclosed it, she can disclose it, right? We just
Right,
can't
right.
tell each other.
Yeah. So 310, I think there's some really good opportunities to do the pressurization. So I don't know if that means that we want to say, yes, we're moving that one to phase two, but we're going to wait to install until we've done our friends and family trial. Or if we want to say, hey, we need to get houses going regardless. Um, I don't know about 300.
Okay, so let me ask a broader question of both Paul and Christian. First of all, it's my understanding that we're doing what we can to gain comfort with the furnace integration. That does not mean we until it's a yes, we're not committed to the furnace integration, right? And so are people considering there was the cutting into the floor, which I think people didn't like, and then there was the window unit. So is that also under consideration? Because then it removes that constraint on the ducts.
I can answer bits and pieces of that maybe. Can't answer the floor piece, but I'm continuing to move forward with the window unit, but that was around the concept or the idea that we would probably, well, step back and phrase it differently. I took the chain of considerations to be that we would randomize a home, and if a home got pressurization, but we couldn't do the furnace for any number of reasons, it would go to the window unit. Um, but I think that's something that was in my head, or that chain of logic was something that was purely in my head. I don't think we've ever talked about. But I do think it's something either now or another point that would be important for us to think about is um, if we're going to say that we're okay with, well, this is a home that only works in portable air cleaners, kind of hard stop, then for expediency, I wonder if I should continue developing all of the different permutations. Does that make sense? Like if we choose if it's technology A or B, then maybe not all technologies are necessary for the pressurization or configurations.
Yeah, I think we should have that logic flow clear among the team. And I will say also that currently our IRB says that they're randomly chosen between
Yeah.
the two.
Okay, yeah, I had not been thinking about the randomly chosen piece. Um, I like the window unit option as one to have in our toolbox. I have really moved away from the one where we're cutting holes in the floor. And when we got repricing from Parker for our quote, he was able to get it to where for 10 houses it was under $10,000, which was an important number to try to keep it below, but he would not be able to keep it under that if we started needing to cut into floors. So I think that it's really good for us to avoid doing the one where we're having standalone systems cut into floors. I think if we're randomizing, then what Christian was saying, if we randomize 306 in and it happened to require the pressurization system, then it's going to be the window unit.
So, okay, it sounds like we want to just not do the cutting the holes unless we need to, unless we run into desperate straits and need to come. It's like not even option C, it's option F. And that's it. I'm not excited about learning how to patch it either. And so is the logic I think we could do one of two things. We could pressurize the homes that are most suitable for pressurization, or we could randomize it and have the window option be the backup if either we're not able to proceed comfortably with the furnace integration, or if the ducts are not set up well. So I think either of those two is possible. I don't think it would be that hard to change the IRB, but I think we do want to ask, would we be biasing the sample by choosing homes based on their suitability in some way? If we didn't randomize, is what I'm saying.
So I will say that I don't think there's a bias. Like, for example, with 306, they have a duct system that is within the pressure boundary. And there are a lot of houses where the duct system is within the pressure boundary. Some of them, the ducts are accessible, some of them they aren't. I don't see that whether the ducts are accessible or not has any significant influence in the general case on particle levels, either indoor or outdoor. The nature of having a forced air system could have an influence, but accessibility of ducts, I don't see having that same influence. So I don't really see there being a bias if we're talking about like duct systems that are accessible versus not. There could be a little bit of a bias if we're talking about houses that, okay, they have a boiler. And so now by having a boiler, they don't even have the ducts. Are those likely to be different than houses with ducts? And the answer is quite likely.
Christian, I'd like to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I came up with like 4 different opinions in the times we've been talking about it here, so reserve the right to change my opinion one more time in the conversation. I think it is gonna raise a concern about slight bias, but I think it's one we can live with. Where I think the bigger bias concern in my mind comes out is it's going to be we're not going to have, I think, really strong, defensible, unbiased, non-objective things that we can say this home can be pressurized or can't be. I think there's going to be a level of the field team having to make a call there, which I think just runs a risk of a perceived bias, if nothing else. But I think we're really going to be looking much more within technology than across technology, just because every home is going to be so different anyway. So I think it's one we can live with. I think my biggest concern, to be honest, is having to explain in our publications and future grants and all of those things how assignments were being done if we don't randomize. I think it's going to be just a red flag that people are going to get concerned about. How big of a deal of it is in reality, maybe not huge, but I do think it's a concern from a optics standpoint for the study data if we don't randomize.
Christian,
Yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead, Allison.
setting aside the, like, bureaucratically, it sounds like we'd have to revise the IRB. If we had a defensible, like, I don't know, I'm thinking in terms of eligibility criteria, which is not quite the right terms. But if we could say what the logic framework is for go, no go on a home, and it's defensible from the standpoint of it allows us to achieve our aims and take care of our participants, I feel like that would be defensible in the peer-reviewed literature, but it would be something we'd want to think of now versus explain post hoc, in my opinion. And I don't know if your discomfort is with letting go of randomization or if it's or where it rests. But if we weren't tied to that, I think we could still have a defensible path to selection, even in terms of our scientific aims, as well as like our human subjects ethical standards.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
I'm not concerned about the ethical one. I think we can figure out a good way to do that. And I agree we can come up with a framework.
Uh-huh.
I think it's more just going to be from the standpoint of as soon as we put something that looks like we're kind of cherry picking certain homes, we're then having to fight against that perception. And we have such a small sample size.
Yeah.
I agree.
So it's more to do like, so say we do
Yeah.
that and pressurization comes back and just shows way more effective. Then the first comment, if I was a reviewer, is like, well, you picked which homes
Yeah.
Right.
pressurization
Right.
went to. So I think we can get over it. I think we can address it.
Yeah.
I am just very much in triage mindset right now in some of
Yeah.
these
Sure.
things.
Yep. So I'd like to go to the go no go sheet. I think, but I think we need to not let this lag too long. And Kristen is trying to set up tech team meetings, so I think we should have this take a small amount of the next tech team, or try to draft a policy before that we can whip through pretty quickly. One question to Christian and maybe Paul. It's my understanding that the window unit is also not appropriate for every house because we don't want to be blowing cold air on people, and so it has to be a little bit removed. There has to be an appropriate window. So we could still have issues of a house not being suitable for pressurization at all. Is that correct?
Yeah,
It
if we take
is.
out all human comfort, I think we could say it could go into anywhere. But yes, I agree from a
Yeah, that's right.
logistical
That's right.
standpoint, not all ones are going to work. Yep.
Yeah, so I think then there's a bit of a question. I just put in the chat. I think that the window unit option is key to be able to randomize. Otherwise, with how we're going, we would basically have to exclude, say, any house with a boiler because we can't randomize that. All boilers would be portable air cleaners. We wouldn't be able to do the pressurization. The window unit allows us to have boiler homes. I guess then the question becomes, so let's say a home, it meets all of our criteria in terms of like phase one. We look at it and say, yeah, we want to move this to phase two. We push the button. It gets randomized into pressurization. Oh, this is house 306. A house like 306. There's no place to tie it into the ducts. What window would we use? Oh, there's no good window to use. Now, do we drop the house because we were unable to have an option on the side of the randomization, and now we have to go find another house? Or is there a pathway by which we say, in the absence of being able to do it in that direction, then we make it a portable air cleaner house? I'm not advocating one way or the other. I want us to recognize that if we are strictly going to randomize where the window unit sometimes still is not a good option, that could cause some houses to drop out for no reason other than whether it was heads or tails.
Yeah, that's right. So that's why I wanted to put that on the table, that there may be a dead end in there somewhere, and we want to think about that. Okay, can we spend
Emmy, you went back on mute.
Oh, sorry. Can we spend a couple minutes on go, no go? I just put um the spreadsheet link in the chat, and what I'd just like to do is have everybody just say like 1 minute where they think they are with their stuff. And that's not everybody. So
Yeah,
Christian and
is it
Paul,
okay if
you
I
want to
go
go
first?
first?
Just because I do have to jump off right at 2 o'clock.
Yeah,
Just so I don't.
yeah. We're
Is that
not going
okay?
to go over. I
Yeah.
refuse, but go ahead, go first.
Yeah, I can do a quick one here, and if I go too quick or just confusing, let me. Uh, no, I would say from the portable air cleaner side of things, I think the hardware is in pretty good shape. And if there's people who are willing in the next 2 weeks, maybe, to take the new model, just make sure it's not too confusing because we've changed filters. Happy to do that. The delivery of the extra ones is taking way longer, so I'm having to hunt down things there. We did a draft of the installation guide. I haven't gotten any comments there, but if people want to hold off on doing comments, I'll do an update of that now that we're using the new filters and let people know when that's ready. But it'd be great to get some more eyes on it. We talked about it at the tech team, but actually looking into the language and if it's clear to folks before we lock that installation guide for the portable air cleaner would be helpful in the coming weeks here. I've completely redone how the workflow for the data download happens. So that is on me to provide documentation and have people start testing that because we really haven't had anybody except for the internal team test the data download. Our data retention has been great, but our ability to get off the unit remotely hasn't been tested. Still working on the pressurization system, mostly in the logic table of how we deal with the furnace on or off, which I can give a lot more detail to the tech team just for the sake of time. If we just put it into the window unit, I think I could fast track that and have those running pretty quickly. It's the logic and making sure we don't do anything based on the recent calls that we're uncomfortable with when we integrate with the furnace, which is taking a lot more time than I was thinking. It was super fast, but let me know if there's questions there, or I can send email updates
Thanks.
or expansions.
No, thanks. And like I said, we're going to be coming back to tech team meetings. I just want the group to hear a general sense. Erica, you want to talk about surveys are on you?
Yeah, so sorry. Like, is the question, I think I spaced out. Like yes, no go, or what needs to be done still on ours before we say yes.
How close are you?
Gotcha.
On a scale of 0 to 10.
Yeah, I would say 7.5. I think we have now most of the pieces, and we just have to compile them. Pi and I didn't meet for the past 2 weeks over the winter break, so I think we just have to have a tag up, but I think Christian sent us the latest version so we can put that in. So I think we're probably on pace to not be concerned.
On pace to not be concerned. I love it. Misa, you want to talk about any of your stuff?
I think for the most part, everything's good to go. The only thing that's still left on my plate are the collocation tests with the sensors. Um, right now, I think more concerned with the omnis, but that's something that I need to work on.
Yeah, but we all should know that we have some mistrust of the omnis, which we're relying on for PM. So I think phase one has been tremendously useful in getting our streamlining down. But that then it raised the issue that we keep running into omnis that are just obviously wrong. Paul, you want to say anything?
Yeah, so I'm really listed for two things that are not already to go. One is pressurization system readiness. That's the ducted one, I figure. And for that one, Misa and I talked right before break about things for him to work on during break, and I have not yet taken the time to go down to the lab to see where that sits. So that's going to end up at least being underway, if not all the way to poised or go. I have not yet started on the field check guide showing indicators of successful function that's in the first part.
Okay. So this is all gonna hit pretty soon.
Yep.
And we want it to hit pretty soon while we have a temperature difference, right?
Yep. Yep. So
Cool.
that's on my plate for next week.
Okay. Thanks, everyone. Looking good. Any last comments? 40 seconds of our overtime remain. Okay. Thanks, everyone. Good to see you all. Bye.
Hi, everyone.